For God's sake, you must always have a safety meeting, my friend.
John,
Yeah.
Oli,
Speaking.
I'd like to formally welcome you
Okay,
to the
yeah,
Whiskey Lounge.
Nice.
It's all good. No. Up here in the rec room, with all-around facilities. Just to set the pace here. John, you're our neighbor over here at ACON. John Arundel, owner of ACON. What's the full name of the company?
ACON. You can call it ACON. It's short for Arundel Powder Process and Convey Group.
Nice.
And we build industrial equipment for mostly processing facilities and processing plants.
Exciting.
Yeah, it's really
Yeah, roofs and siding. Is
glamorous.
Just as exciting. Oh, I forgot. Are we turning these things on or not? Oh, we're not. Are we doing that? Oh, well. All right. We're running. Oh, it's on that side?
What do I do?
There's
Just flip the switch.
There's a switch.
A red switch.
A red. Don't
Like
push
on-
the red button. I'm doing it.
Wait
Oh.
for it. You gotta wait.
Not that one.
Oh!
Oh, you got to wait for it.
Wow.
It's the real deal here in the Whiskey Lounge. So, John, you and I became buddies through just being neighbors, business owners right next door to each other, and then ping pong, which, by the way, you guys just slammed me out in a good game of ping pong / Kong Pong.
Ping pong with Kong Pong rules.
We'll get into that later because I've never heard of it until you guys totally forced that on me. So I appreciate it. And then you brought in a special guest. Super excited to have him on because I know a little bit more about you, but I know zero about this guy. But
Yeah, I can introduce him if you
yeah,
want.
that would be great.
So this is Scott Olson. He has been a close family friend of ours, of my dad, and then we just grew up with him around and just been a close family friend of ours. And he has been an inventor throughout his career, mostly inventing like sports-related stuff and being active. And his whole MO is being active, being in shape, and being healthy. And he invented rollerblades in what year was that?
78.
He invented rollerblades in 78 and then has had numerous inventions along the way since then. But he's just, he's one of my favorite people, and he's an extremely interesting man. And I thought it would be great to have him in here and have his input. I mean, he's been a business owner, been a business partner, just pretty much everything you can imagine. He's probably done it.
Oh, no. When you had told me about Oli, and now when you guys showed up, I recognized you from visiting our ping pong tournament that we had a few years ago. And there was like 30-something people here, and you didn't have time to play that day. But you waltzed right in and started talking to people, and I was like, who's this guy? Who's the surfer guy that just walked in, right? But you were super nice back then and courteous and polite, and I was like, there's something about that guy. I don't know what it is. But after that, never saw you again, really. Just life goes on or whatever. And then we started doing this podcast deal, right? And I was telling John, I got to have you on. Let's talk about our businesses, all these things we have in common. And I was like, but we also have to get somebody interesting on, too. And, yeah, John.
And John, you're not interesting.
So he said, well, what about my buddy Oli? And so super excited. But I had to do some fact checking before you got here, okay? Because it seemed a little too good to be true there. I'm like, the inventor of rollerblades? So I did the whole Google, and it's right there.
He's the guy.
Alan is your real first name, correct? But you don't go by it?
Scott.
Yeah, Scott.
Scott Allen is in there somewhere?
Yeah, Scott Bradley
Scott Bradley.
Olson. So, yeah, I'm a big fan of Johnny's. I mean, I watched him grow up, and I, it was 3 years ago he said you had the tournament. I was hoping to come back for the next year to play because I wanted to get involved in the tournament. And then I never heard about it. I'm not sure if you had it or I just wasn't invited, but
Just
we
got
need to
busy.
get that going again. You got
I'd
to
love
keep that
to.
going again.
That was a fun format because everybody got seated with whatever their opposite was. So if you were the best in the room, you were with the worst player. And I was with the worst player, so you know what that means about my game, right? It means I seeded very, very well, right? And then there's John, who I'm pretty sure
was one of the worst players.
No. You also. I think we were like number 2, but then we had a guy in here who was seriously probably one of the best players here, who seated like 11, and so he was with like 12 or something. Anyhow, was a ton of fun, and everybody really enjoyed it. And then you know how it is. You just get busy. A lot of things going on here, and you prioritize. And we thought the rec room would just be like busy every single day, but it's not. It's not. Everybody's just raising their families and working hard, and time goes on. But you're absolutely right. We have to do another ping pong tournament, and if I do nothing else between now and next week, it's going to be scheduled another one of those.
Well, you used to do it every year. I think I remember you did it like 3 years in a row. I was always in May, and I at least 2 years in a row. Like I remember being here 2 years in a row.
We did a couple of them.
Cool. Well, you should make a proclamation now, and that way the audience, if they want to fly in to play, I mean, let's open the doors to the best players maybe in the world might come and play.
Like an open.
Yeah, there you go.
The all-around open.
Yeah.
The all-around ping pong championship open tournament.
Or just the all-around open.
All right.
Age categories for, people that are maybe 12 and under, really promote it for the young kids.
Yeah.
And then we'd have a Kong Pong section.
Yes.
We could have a tournament on the Kong Pong and then on the Olympic size table, just to kind of mix it up a little bit and try to pull something off that hasn't been done before.
So let's do this, because we'll get into Kong Pong and all the other things that keep you so damn young. But I really want to dive right in. I want to know. I want to go in for the meat and potatoes, right? Rollerblades. Yeah, the dog wants to know too. Oh, by the way.
Yeah, we got to introduce the
yes,
fourth
we
member.
have to introduce the other guest here hanging out with us.
That's Willard, right? Willie?
Yeah, that's Willie Willard. I was telling Jomber, Johnny's stage name, right? Is Jomber?
Yeah.
And but on the way over, our big drive over, I named him Willard after Billy Peterson, who I've known for 35, 40 years, and he was the bass player on Blood on the Tracks.
Mm-hmm.
You're probably
Dylan.
too young to be able to get into that album, but it was a Dylan album. And I always loved Willard, and I thought, I'm going to name this guy Willard because I never see Willard anymore, just maybe on holidays once, twice a year,
Willard.
So
Willard.
that's Willard.
This is one of the most well-behaved dogs. If my dogs were in here, there wouldn't be a camera left standing, a microphone on. Everything would be destroyed, and you'd have some bruises on you from being whipped by a giant tail. So nice to have you, Willard. Thanks for being on, and I'm sure the feeling's mutual. Ole, let's jump into the meat and potatoes. I mean, the real gravy here. Rollerblades. How, why, when? Tell us about it.
Well, that's kind of been my claim to fame. I've been trying to top that one, and it's been a little tough to do.
Good
but
luck.
It's possible. I mean, musicians come up with a big selling album, and they do another one, right? They
Sure.
forget about the other one. But, well, not really forget about the original one, but 78, I was just out of high school. I was pursuing my dream as a professional goalie in the sport of ice hockey. And I was living in Canada. I moved to Canada right out of high school. I figured if I was going to make it into the big leagues, I got to go play with the big boys, because back in the day, in the even the late 70s when I was in high school, pretty much everybody going into the NHL was coming out of Canada. So I moved to Canada, played on one of the best teams in Canada, and still has the record in Canadian junior hockey as having the best record.
Wow.
And I just fact-checked that just recently to see if it was still true. As of a couple of years ago, it was still true, and it's been 30 years. Well, anyhow.
So wait, real quick. Ole, the goalie.
Well, that was one of my nicknames.
So, yeah, I'm sure there's maybe a couple you can't say. And by the way, we can say anything here, but was that a part of the nickname? How Ole came up was because you were a goalie?
Oh, maybe.
Olson, Scott Olson.
Olson,
Oh, okay,
yeah. It was
okay,
Olson
okay.
first, yeah. And it was Scooter before that, then Ole the goalie, and so anyhow, I got really into trying to achieve my goal of becoming a professional goalie. So I always trained. I probably trained harder than anybody on the ice because I figured that would help me get to the end goal, right? You train hard and maybe a few things fall your way because you work hard. And because everything was stacked against me because everybody was getting signed. They were from Canada. So I proved that I could play in Canada. And during that time, I found this ad in the Hockey News magazine. And there was a inline skate being advertised. And I'm thinking, oh, wow, we used to talk about doing this back in the days with my buddies. And so long story short, I came home. After a season up in Canada, Brandon, Manitoba, I drove home. I had 4 or 5 Siberian Huskies that I brought with me to pay for the trip, and they had a polar bear rug. And got coming home into the driveway, about a 10-hour drive, I see a younger brother of mine skating down the street in what I had seen in the Hockey News ad. And it was my younger brother. He was probably 5, 6 years younger than me. And I said, wow, man, where'd you get those? And he said, I got them over at Athletic Outfitters, in Bloomington. And so next day I get over there. I buy a pair from Bob Campbell. And I come home, or he actually put them on my hockey boots, my own boots. And next thing I know it, man, I was like in heaven. It was a dream come true. Ice skating, wherever you wanted to go.
On pavement, yeah.
On pavement. And it really was a dream come true because I was visioned of being able to travel instead of on my bike, but on my skates, right? And that wasn't really possible. So all of a sudden now I'm skating everywhere. And then like the next night they had a welcoming home party for me. My girlfriend was throwing a party for me. And who's all there? Tommy Howard. I say that because Johnny knows Tommy, Ken and Howard, and
bunch of hockey guys.
Yeah, so they all wanted to try them, right? And so I take them off. I got a size 9, fits a few, doesn't fit many.
Sure.
More. And they're like, trying to squeeze into them, but they all wanted them. So I went back to my new buddy Bob. I said, Bob, I need some more of these, And he's like, God, I think I got 2 left out of the 6 I bought like 5 years ago, and I bought them up. Got them, my buddies on them, a couple of my friends, because I had 2 pair to sell. I go back to Bob. I said, let's order more. He goes, no, I don't want to order any of them. I'm done with this deal. I've been sitting on them for too long. So he went in the back room, and he came back about 10 minutes later with the business card. Well, this was back before the internet, right?
Sure.
So it was key that he found that business card. I don't know what I would have done if he hadn't found it. He brings it back. He goes, here, I got the card, Scott. I grabbed the card, I go home, and I was kind of entrepreneurial growing up. I used to make my own goalie equipment. I made a golf club or 2. I used to do anything I could do to make a buck, right?
So you're not just of entrepreneurial mind, too. You're also kind of an engineer. You fabricate things. Is that correct?
Yeah. I'm an inventor.
You modify things.
Yeah.
Huh?
I'm
That's
both.
Very cool.
Yeah, I'm both. I can't say I'm a good fabricator, but I'm a good dreamer. And I feel that way. But anyhow, I called the company up. Next thing I know, I got a dozen pair of skates coming in, just the bottoms, the trucks we call them, and started peddling them. And that was. So I don't really take the credit as the inline skate inventor. Inline skates were invented before roller skates were invented. It originated from ice skating.
Got it.
And so inline skates had been around forever. And so I take credit for being the guy that started the Rollerblade company, and which really got it on the map. And then so that's kind of my claim to fame.
That's awesome. Just taking a step back to inline skates before the Rollerblade brand. I remember, because I was born in the 80s, early 80s, right? 81, but I would go to the skate park all the time. Roller skate park, like Skate Land or Cheap Skate, right?
Third layer.
Yeah. Now that was the skate
Oh,
park.
you're talking about.
I'm talking about
Cheapskate.
just disco music.
Oh,
and
yeah.
going
Great.
around and meeting girls and
Hokey
and
pokey.
all that, the hokey pokey, shoot the duck, right?
Yeah.
Right. But it wasn't cool. So when they started, rollerblades started coming out, right? It wasn't cool to bring rollerblades to the skate park, right?
Yeah.
Because it just wasn't accepted yet, right? It was looked at as like, who are you? There's some techie nerd bringing in some rollerblades, right? And so, if you didn't have your leather jacket and your Dominions with your Sims tricolor wheels, doing a hockey stop, right? Going up to the girls saying, you want to skate, right? And it wasn't cool. But give it a couple years later, right? All of a sudden, they're everywhere. It's majority rollerblades at the skate park. And it was less and less. This is probably getting into late 80s, early 90s. Less and less roller skates. And then the roller skates became kind of a nostalgic thing,
Yeah, 100%. I had my brother and my brother who's 18 months younger than me, you had to have been, I don't know, it was early on in the company. It was probably in the late 80s. He brought over 2 pair of rollerblades and gave them to me and my brother because we were playing hockey. I'll never forget that pair of rollerblades. It was like a light blue boot with red laces and a white truck. Do you remember those ones?
Yeah.
I'll never forget it. He brought them over and he gave them to us. And I remember I put them on, and that first feeling that, it's like when you ride the bike for the first time, when you feel how smooth it is and the wind is going through your hair. But I'm like, I'm skating, and I'm like going around, and it was wild. It was really cool.
Were you a hockey guy?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So this was something. See, I was never a hockey guy. I was just more so trying the new thing. And so my first pair of rollerblades were a lot more, I think, user friendly, not for your hockey person, but the wheels didn't roll as fast, right? They had them tightened down a little bit more. They had the brake in the back. It wasn't for hockey players. It was for anybody, right?
Yeah.
But boy, that brand, like a wildfire. So can you talk a little bit about the first few years of the brand and what happened and your involvement and eventually how I imagine you stepped out or sold or.
Yeah, that's part of the story. In fact, I got to kind of relive that. I'm a guy that doesn't like to live in the past or in the future too much, but they're proposing a rollerblade movie right now, and
that's cool.
Yeah, so I'm kind of getting into it and getting kind of excited about it, mainly because of my buddy Nick Hansen, who is really kind of heading it up. I said, well, Nick, if you really want to head it up, I'll help you with it. I'll just support him. I'm not going to put any money into it. But so he's going out raising some dough, and he's got some Hollywood people involved, and it's been interesting because everybody, when they hear the name Rollerblades, they get back to us. So that's everybody's got a great story.
You know what's going to happen? They're going to see this come out. This is the prequel to the.
Well, yeah, it's PR. We're promoting it right now.
That's exactly right. Yep. So he's going to get a copy of this, and it's going to be like, oh my gosh, you were on the safety meetings in the safety meeting studio, ripping some Pong.
That was where it started. That's where we came up with it. Do you have a script yet? Do they have a script?
The guy, the screenwriter wrote a script, and I haven't read it yet, but it's been done for a while.
Did they get any input from you?
Oh yeah,
okay, cool.
Yeah. The guy
did he interview you?
Oh yeah, Lacey. Lacey is a guy that saw the opportunity, John Lacey, and I fell in love with the guy. So that's the other thing that's been motivating me to really get more involved in it. But the key is really coming up and getting the backing for it. So once the backing gets in there, then I'll get more into it. But for now, he's got enough of a script because it's got the name, Rollerblades. So in it. Like I said, the story is great, but we all have a great story. Mine might be a little more interesting because it's got a lot of movement.
Sure.
It's got a lot of visual. It's got, if I had anything to say about it, I don't want any alcohol or drugs in it.
Sure.
And I'm not against that, but I really want to be promoting it as really more of a healthy environment for, people and kids, but at the same time,
a safe environment.
Yep.
Safety first.
Yep. Safety's first. That's my motto too.
Although I will just say, I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but I have
go ahead.
absolutely railed myself and scraped every part of my body on a pair of rollerblades before. And then maybe that was just the way I rode or whatever. But yeah, it was a little. Dangerous, inherently dangerous, I think.
The cement's not too forgiving, if you don't have any plastic on, right?
No.
But no, and I think that's a, I always ask people, they always come up to me and it's like, yeah, I had one of your first pair of blades and I loved it. I was skating everywhere. It changed my life. And it's like, well, are you still skating? And a lot of them are like, no. Well, of course, they're all my age now,
Sure.
So I've had a couple of falls late in my career that kind of got me a little gun shy. But more recently, I've gotten back into it even more so. So back to your question about where I'm at or where I was at with the company.
The evolution of the skate comes out and
skate comes out and I'm out pitching them, promoting them to as many people as possible, and because I had to go door to door. The stores, didn't want to buy into it in the beginning.
They were telling you these are never going to take on. We don't want nothing to do with it.
Most people thought that unless you were a hockey guy. Then
Okay.
when the hockey guys kind of saw them, they took to them, and even still they were a little skeptical. So, but what really got it rolling was that I was just selling the trucks, and the guys always had their old boots around. They kept, and they'd bring the boots. Well, I got a pair of boots. I could put them on. And they bring them over. I'll put the rollerblades on, and if you don't like them, after 5 days, I'll put your ice blades back on, right? And so that was kind of my sales pitch, right? And they'd come over to my parents' house. I was living over in Bloomington at the time, and we just kept pounding them on boots, and nobody ever came back. And sure, a lot of the guys called up and said, man, I want to sell these in my community. They've never seen them over here. That could be like Roseville or Brooklyn Center, and it's like, yeah, you can be the sales guy. I'll give you that area, you can have it type of thing.
Sure, yeah, enthusiasts, people that you knew that were passionate about it and wanted to just push it.
Yeah, that's what really got it going, was really that, and the idea that you didn't have to buy a whole boot, because that would have jacked up the cost to like $200.
Oh, and it got there.
Yeah, but that we created that. I went to Italy, I brought boots in from Italy, because I knew it had to be a special kind of boot, and at that time, these plastic boots were coming out like ski boots, but lighter, and that really made it ideal for recreational skaters because it didn't have to have an expensive leather boot to give you that support that you need. In inline or ice skating, you got to have some support. That's where the gals growing up, the young girls growing up, they always got stuck with a pair of cheap figure skates. Well, a lot of even pro hockey players have a hard time skating in a pair of figure skates that didn't have any ankle support. So that was something I identified with right away, and really created a boot to take it to the recreational market. And while that was going on, and business was growing to a point where we were making some serious money, I kept throwing it back into the business. Well, lo and behold, my business manager, who was a guy that was 10 years senior to me, so he was like 30, I was like 20 at the time. He was taking the money out of the till.
Oh.
And I trusted this guy, so I always say I felt lucky he didn't take my life, because I would have trusted the guy with my life, the
lessons you learn from people like that are you could almost thank them, because they stick with you forever, even though you don't want to thank somebody like that, but still, you know what I mean?
Well, I kind of wanted to, if he survived it, because my older brother, and I had brought on my siblings. I grew up with 6 brothers, and I'd be bringing them on when I needed more help. And then my siblings were kind of my first employees, right? So now it's kind of a family thing. And then my friends, of course. But anyhow, so I ended up kind of losing and getting out of it sooner than I kind of wanted to. But at the time, I was developing a better skate, because I'm the kind of guy that always wants to improve everything.
Sure.
Even it's been around forever. I'm always improving it. So as I was making this blade that was called, you remember the name of that skate, John?
Switch-Its?
Yep. Which was switchblades first.
Oh, yeah.
And then we changed the switch. It was a blade that you'd interchange from ice to roller. So I was kind of taking money out of the till to create this next skate called Switchblade because it was mainly hockey guys buying my product, and that's a whole different story. But so when I ended up losing it to the shark that came in and took me out, I was like, not that big a deal because I got a better skate, that I was working on.
Sure.
Well, he got a first right of refusal on it, which I had to go along with because he basically could have taken everything for nothing because I was at his mercy at that point. And so he ended up taking over the company, and I went off to start Switchblades and got that on the market after about 5 years. And by that time, the business was, mega millions.
Yep.
The industry grew up to hundreds of million to 200 million in sales within a year.
So I have a couple questions about that. Just the evolution of the actual Rollerblade brand, right? So originally it was trucks you could put on to boots, right?
Yep.
And then eventually it became more of the hockey style skate but came with the wheels all together, right?
Yeah.
And then eventually you had these tricksters, right? It was like, okay, you had a normal recreational version, a lot of different versions, right? I remember looking at going into the bike shop or the skate shop and seeing all these different rollerblades, and from the most expensive one, which could be, at the time, $500 or something. Today it'd be like $1,500, right? All the way down to your $100 version. But then the tricksters started coming in. The guys that would
Like
go to
the X Games stuff.
Yes,
Yeah.
the skate
Grinding
park,
on the rails
grinding
and
on
the
the
jumps,
rails
yeah.
and everything. Which, by the way, no offense, but as a biker, I was a freestyle biker, right? We hated the rollerbladers. Because we were like, they're so annoying. They're just and they didn't like us either. And it was the same thing with the skateboarders. The skateboarders didn't like the bikers. The skateboarders didn't like the rollerbladers. We all coexisted at the skate park together, but these guys would dangle their feet over the edge, and I'm coming with my bike, and I'm like, if you touch my bike, I'm going to kick your butt, Anyhow, but then eventually it seemed like you got to the now, which is where I feel like it lives currently, is the hockey players that play rollers. Like, there's a lot of hockey players that in the off season here in Minnesota, when it's not, you don't have ice rinks outside and whatnot, and they don't want to spend all this money for these indoor rinks, cooled rinks or whatnot. They're playing rollers. They're playing competitive hockey, which is grinding. It's a really interesting evolution there of what the skates have been through. Is that familiar with all that?
There's a league in Hopkins at the Pavilion that I know a few guys that have played in it. They played in it during the summer. There's some ex-NHL guys that play in it, probably actively, maybe some current ones. But, yeah, there's a league. It's not, like, super popular, but there's definitely a league, and there's legit guys playing in it.
Well,
and it's real competitive.
I think it's interesting because they can't...
Well, they know how to stop. They can skate on those things just like hockey skates.
And they can turn and
yeah.
stop just the same? Okay, because I always thought, well, you must have to control your speed a little bit better because...
A little bit,
if you're flying into a wall and you need to turn, boy, that's not going to end up...
But the biggest thing is that puck that they use is like, it's light. It's a little bit lighter than like a hockey puck. And you can just whistle that thing.
It just slides around.
Oh, man.
Yep.
You can wire that thing from like it can really.
It's not the puck with the 3 balls inside of it that kind of protrude from the bottom.
No, they're a little different than that.
You remember those?
Oh yeah.
You got to get like a little computer so we can like look it up. Like
we can run some clips and We're working on that.
Yeah, but that thing you can whistle that thing. Yeah,
okay.
But yeah, there's a league in Hopkins and. There's really good guys that are playing in it.
So Ole, I can't help but ask, and we can move on to other subjects or whatever you guys want to talk about. But I did, just from a common listener hearing this story, which is just totally fascinating, by the way, and just about everybody in this country knows rollerblades, right? But so you invent something that touches almost every home in the country. How and I understand it. So. I'm just curious about the finances on that. I'm not looking for numbers. It's very tacky how much money did you make on that? That's not what I'm looking for. But how did that change your life? And do you still see royalties from that? Do you still, is that, did it set you up for, did it change your life forever financially? Did it not? I mean, whatever you're willing to share. I don't want to overstep.
Well, I've always been an open book, and that's part of why I am an open book, because I like to share my experience with people, because I love promoting the whole entrepreneurial movement. I love promoting inventing, and at the same time, I like to. I think Charlie would like that new game I was talking to you about in your office the last time. The game of inventing a game board to find out how much money your buddies, your friends will have.
You got to listen to this. He said, I got to invent a game where you try and guess how much money your buddies are worth.
Like total net worth.
Net worth.
Liquid or non-liquid.
Well, because we know a couple of people that we know are really wealthy, but
Sure.
you would see this guy walking through an airport,
Sure.
and there's a lot of people out there where you're like, you never know, but you know the guy is really wealthy.
Sure.
But so there's a couple guys that we know that are like that, and he was like, I wonder how much money he actually has. I should create a game.
I think that is absolutely brilliant, because
I would say that.
well, you have your different types, right? Because you have some people. Oh, Selena pulled up.
Look at
There's
that.
the speed. That's at the speed
Very
puck. Is that what it's
good,
called?
Yeah,
Yeah,
look at
there we
them
go.
all.
That's it.
Holy shit.
You can. It's like hard plastic, and then those little bumps, the little circles. It's like a UHMW plastic, and that's what it rides on. So there's just no friction. So when you get a hold of that thing with the curved stick, you can just absolutely wire it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Wow, that's great to see that. That's interesting.
Isn't that cool?
Because I'll talk about the money issue earlier, but since you touched on roller hockey, that gets me kind of fired up, because one of the things I did when I was promoting the blades, trying to get them out to the masses, where we were selling 1 million pair, I had to create these events. Well, naturally, roller hockey came into my life. My buddies like, let's play roller hockey tonight, Ole. Like, I don't know if that sounds so good, And sure enough, we started playing it, and I was like, wow, this is fun. So long story short, I started a league, and we started playing roller hockey, and I made a few changes in the rules, kind of like my game of Pong versus ping pong, and only for the betterment of the game. And I changed a few rules, but in the meantime, I brought 15, 18 of my very good buddies that helped create roller hockey. We jumped in a 15-passenger van, drove to Brooklyn, New York, and this was like early on, at least it was probably 81. And we pack into this van. We got a trailer, a U-Haul trailer behind us, all the gear in it. We drive out to Brooklyn, and because Brooklyn plays a lot of roller hockey, right? And we call them up. I'm getting everything set up, and we find out they're using this roller electrical tape made by 3M for their puck. And so we're like, wow, they're using that. We were using a ball, right? And the ball is no good. And so meanwhile, we get out there, and they're all on quads, on conventional roller skates, and we're all on inlines. And like the first puck drops of the night under the lights in Brooklyn, and it's all full gear. It's contact, right?
Full checking.
Yeah, and we knew that, and we were geared up for it. And it was like, holy cow, man! And all of a sudden, one guy goes into the corners on his roller skates. First time we played in a rink with boards, right? We were always playing in parking lots. Mm-hmm. And this guy goes into the boards and he does a hockey stop on conventional skates.
Yeah,
right?
because you can do it on skates.
Yeah,
Yep.
you alluded to that earlier.
I used to have a pair, buddy.
Yeah, and everybody on the bench was like, "Did you see that?"
Dude just hockey stopped with roller skates.
Yep, all
and,
four.
And then all of a sudden during that game, we're like, we're kind of getting competitive. We're getting our butts kicked, and then all of a sudden we're starting to do hockey stops, and inlines, right? And then we're all like, giving each other high fives because we're doing these hockey stops. So lo and behold, the wheels were kind of blowing out on our skates because we had some guys had a new set of wheels I was working on, right? Mm-hmm. And back then, I would take roller skate wheels, put them on a lathe, and turn it into a inline wheel.
cut them in half, basically.
Yeah, with a die, just did it all in one shot.
And
Sure.
they do like a rounded profile on the blade,
Yeah.
on the wheel. Yeah, I remember that.
It was like magic. You watch that thing start out, 3 inches wide on a lathe,
Whittle it down.
Yeah.
I
so,
gotcha.
So anyhow, that's what was my start of roller hockey, and really promoted that over the years. And
Do you remember the Pro Beach Hockey League
yeah,
in California?
yeah.
I know a couple older guys that went out and played in that. Did you ever remember seeing that on TV? They had a Pro Beach Hockey League that they like built a rink right by the beach, probably in LA or something.
Right near the beach.
Yeah, and they had they on the ends were not boards. It was a quarter pipe.
Okay.
So the end of the rink was a. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah.
It was a quarter pipe.
Very
So
nice.
so guys would be coming down and they'd be like full sprint on a breakaway, like trying to score, and then they would dodge the net and go up and do like a
Real slide.
or they would like do a big turn in a quarter pipe. But yeah,
Nice.
but it was like full blown like hockey rules that it was like fighting and full check and all this stuff, So Pro Beach Hockey League, yeah.
Nuts, man. I don't know. I wasn't a hockey player. I'm just not built for it. But I definitely had a few pair of rollerblades.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. There was a pair that came out one year, and I imagine you were probably out of it by then. But they made it where if you pushed back on your heel, the brake would come down. That's when they started getting dumb. I'm not gonna lie. I felt like.
Yeah, they had to make them for the masses, They had to- so you could stop.
And I understand all that, but like, it was just too gimmicky. And I wondered, like, why? Are they still going strong now, or do you hardly hear about them?
Yeah, true. I've gotten back into it in the last 10, 15 years. I've gotten back into it now. I'm really good friends with the guy that runs Rollerblades North America, and there's areas outside of the U.S. that are hugely popular, and so I actually he flew me out to rollerblade in a marathon in Berlin a few years ago, 3 years ago. So yeah, it's they're doing some numbers, and it's come back a little bit, but not like it was in the heyday.
Sure.
And
Is the brand Rollerblade still?
Oh yeah,
brand?
yeah. They've done a really good job developing their skates and their boots. They're into it.
Do they have to pay you anything anymore?
No.
You're completely out.
Yeah, the party ended.
In what year?
Oh, it was. I hate to even think how far back it went.
80s or 90s?
Yeah, it was probably 90, early 90s.
Oh, good.
I struck a deal that worked out pretty good. I proved that you can get a 1% royalty. Mm-hmm. It was supposed to be 2%, but I got 1, and I had to fight for that. But I proved that even 1% you can make a lot of money.
I bet.
And a lot of money is relative.
Sure, yeah, and that's not the point. It was more the impact. I was just very, very curious on the impact of somebody's life to come up with something that touches almost every single home. It's just amazing, and to think that you're so close to us here, and it's like having a worldwide celebrity here in your own community, right? Even though people know the brand Rollerblade, they might not necessarily know you or
Where
that
it came
you're
from.
behind it, right? Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk a little bit about this Pong. Okay,
Well, we got to talk about SkyRide then, too.
Okay, SkyRide, Pong. But so, do you have something to do with Pong?
Well, thanks to Johnny, kind of got me fired up to get it on the market. But yeah, I started it 15. When was that when you came out? We got
25
perked.
years ago.
No, it wasn't that long. Was
20. It was at least 20 years. So I was doing a summer internship and just like helping Oli with grunt work at his farm. He's got a farm that he has a bunch of stuff where he's kind of always inventing
How long ago
stuff.
was this?
High school.
Okay,
Right after high
and
school.
you're my age, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm 40. I'm 40.
Oh,
So I would have been
just a young buck.
it would have been like 20 years ago, maybe.
Okay.
Maybe 21 years ago. And I got Perk. Do you remember Eric Perkins? That was the sports
Sure,
guy, and
sure.
I thought it was Care 11 or something.
Mhm.
I got Perk to come out and do. He used to do this thing called Perk at Play, where he would go to like a local, whatever, like a local group of people that he found out that they were like doing something. Like maybe one of them had like a baseball field in their backyard, and they would play. So he'd go out there and he'd meet the local family and hang out with them and play baseball at their thing. And he'd do like a little 5-minute segment on it called Perk at Play. Okay. So I got him to come out. I said, you got to come out. I'm doing this internship for this guy, Scott Olson. He, started Rollerblade, and he's got some new inventions that he's working on. Why don't you come out to his farm where he does he has all his prototypes, and come out and hang out, and you can do a Perk at Play there. So he's like, yeah, great, no problem. So he came out, and Oli, I don't know if you designed the table for it, but he had this big, it's like 1 foot on either side all around.
Yeah.
So it's just a huge ping pong table. And you use the normal paddle and the normal ball, and the net is a 2x6. So the net is a 2x6, and it's a huge oversized ping pong table.
Why is the net a 2x6?
Well, because you
outside
describe it.
like it's designed to be outside.
Okay.
So the original one was outside, and it just held up better.
Sure.
The net would just get destroyed.
Just get
by
a green
weather.
treated 2x6. Got it.
And it was just painted. So he painted it like with the right paint and outdoor paint, and he mounted light posts on the side. So
Sure.
we'd go out at night, and you'd be playing in like the middle of June, like 10 p.m., and you'd be out there playing, and it's more of a workout than regular ping pong because you've got to cover a lot more ground.
Yeah.
So, but then that's where Kong Pong came from, and the rules were a little bit different. It was designed to keep it moving more.
Sure.
So like, it's whoever got the ball at the end of that point, that person could serve. And then there's really no rules about how you serve. So like, if you got the ball by the side of the net, you could just kind of pop it over right on the other side, and then
go to the side of the table, go wherever you want.
Or like what he did earlier today.
Yeah.
He said, "Oh no, it's coming underneath." So then I duck my head down to look under the table for the ball, and he's serving it right at me. Those are just little tricks.
Yeah, you guys clearly knew what you were doing there. No excuses.
The game within
right?
the game.
I got whooped. No excuses, but I'm a little enlightened now. But that's awesome. I mean, it's kind of the opposite of what happened with tennis and pickleball, right? It's like people wanted a more friendly, fun, more casual way, which is in line with what you're doing there. But they they took it from having to be very exercise based, strenuous, to more user friendly, more fun for everybody, get doubles involved, whatever. Well, ping pong, it's kind of that way, the other way around. The table is small. You got to be kind of good at it to keep most people can't keep the ball even on a ping pong table. If you get an amateur that's never played, they have a hard time just keeping the ball going, even if you're not playing competitively. So this sounds like it's a lot more fun for just your starter, just your beginner that wants to play some table tennis, right?
Sure, yeah. I think it adds a lot of different elements. Every table I would make, it was custom, right? So I was always constantly improving on it, but kind of kept the same theme, 6x12. And it made it really challenging to find boards that were 6 feet by 6 feet, because each half is 6x6.
Sure.
So anybody listening to this out there that knows where I can get some really good outdoor material. So I was always gluing together boards and make a 6x6.
Sure.
Well, that was a pain in the butt, and then you just everything about building the tables were kind of a pain. But I kept doing it and kept selling them, and then I also one of the things I liked about the table is that it made it so it could drop from the height of 4 feet, which is about the height of an Olympic size. An Olympic size is 9x5. For those of you that don't know the size of an Olympic size table, which is a worldwide game. Obviously, it's in the Olympics. I made mine bigger, but then I also gave it, you could lower it so kids that were imagine like a kid that's like 6 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And if you could play on a ping pong table the same way that adults play, a 6-year-old can't play on a ping pong table because it's too high.
It's too high. Yep.
But a 6-year-old kid could pick up ping pong in no time, right? If they were on that playing level.
Although, have you seen the guy that has no arms that just puts the paddle in his mouth and he's like really good?
Well, I know at the Paralympics they have ping pong, and I've seen some of the highlights of that, and it's completely unbelievable.
I'm not trying to go down a rabbit trail, but
Yeah.
that's incredible. I couldn't believe that. But to your point, no. Yeah, most kids can't play; it's too tall, and they can't keep the ball on the table. They just can't, right? So they lose interest very, very quickly.
Yeah.
I know I've had my kids in here many, many times to play, and it's fun for a little bit.
Well, it's important to get the kids playing ping pong, any sport for that matter. But that's why I built the table. I want it to be outdoors. Because a lot of times your basement's filled up with stuff, but keep it outside. And then with the lights on it, I always tell people when I'm promoting it is like, personally, some of the best ping pong matches I've had has been with the snow coming down and the lights are on, right? Imagine playing that, and then some of the most incredible games I've had where we've taken it on the rink. In fact, your brother Scotty and I did that.
Yeah.
And we put ice skates on and we played ice pong, right? And that was always my goal growing up, is that I was a tennis player. It's like, I would love to play tennis on ice, right? Because when you're a good ice skater, I mean, you're as fast on ice skates as you are running. Maybe faster, and you can stop quicker. It's easier on your body. So
I would have loved to have raised a kid like you, because you'd hand him anything, and then he'll turn it into some fun game.
Yeah.
Here's a stick. Do
You
something.
should tell
with
him how you used to hitchhike up north when you were in high school to go hunting.
yeah.
What was that? When you were at Kennedy?
Well, I was still living in St. Louis Park, but
Okay, yeah.
when I was like 14, 15, when I wasn't old enough to drive, I'd hitchhike. I grew up in, I was lucky, I grew up with two homes because my parents grew up in Grand Rapids, Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
We built a lake home. The whole family built this cabin with my grandparents, and it was a family thing. All of our relatives were up there, so I ended up having two places with friends up north. But, the best time of the year was the fall because I was a hunter, so when I couldn't get a ride up with my parents, I mean, it was a 4-hour drive from Minneapolis to Grand Rapids.
Mm-hmm.
I'd get out and hitchhike up with a bag, and I'd break my gun down to take it up there in a bag so people couldn't see it. And I'd put on like a letter jacket, and I'd hitchhike up to Grand Rapids to go hunting with my buddies, right? Duck hunting. We were big duck hunters. And then going up there wasn't so bad, but on Sunday after hunting, I had to come home and get to school because that was a deal I made with my parents, Chuck and Peg. I'll be home for school Monday, right? So I'm hitchhiking home at night. That ain't good.
It was a different time, though. It was a time where people got lost a lot easier,
Can
and
you
it was
imagine?
much harder to keep track of people. So it was a safer time.
Oh, yeah.
Not really.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. I mean, I remember hitchhiking one time ever in my life.
I've never done it.
It was from Rockford to Plymouth. I went to some party. I was 15 or 16. Probably wasn't supposed to be there, but I partied really hard in Rockford. Ended up spending the night at some house where everybody flopped, and then I needed to get to the car wash, the Plymouth car wash, by 9 a.m. I needed to be there, otherwise I was in big trouble, and I was already in hot water. And so I started walking down 55, and I'm like, you know what, I'm never going to make it. So I threw the thumb out there. Sure as shit, this guy in a van pulls up, and it's like the van that you don't
From
get
Silence
into.
of the Lambs.
It's just a white van with no windows in it.
Oh, man.
And I don't know why, but I was like, hey. He's like, where are you going? I said, Plymouth. He's like, I'll hop in. Well, he's a painter, so he was a contractor. All kinds of paint back there. He's like, you want to sit up front? I said, nah, I'll just sit back here. Oh, he dropped me off right by the car wash, right? Get to the car wash. I'm like, hey, I'm here, boss. He's like, yeah, well, you're fired. I was 15 minutes late. He's like, no, we're not having it. I was like, well, I'll show you one day. And then I became a telemarketer. Like a couple weeks later.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's my one and only hitchhiking story.
So I want one ping pong story,
Yeah.
and then I want to talk about SkyRide. But so we have our office across the street from here, and we have a ping pong table set up in the front. And one day we had a truck driver bring just a random delivery in, and he was driving like a big box truck, and he comes in and he's walking out through the office to go back out to his vehicle, and he says, "Oh, you guys play ping pong?" And it's like, "Yeah, sure." And he's got his truck uniform on, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And we're like, "Yeah." He's like, "Oh, well, do you want to? I've played a little bit. Can we have a game quick?" And I'm like, yeah, sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, let's have a game, man.
Yeah.
Bring it on, And so, I can hold my own on the ping pong table.
Of course you can.
And so I'm like, okay, this is going to be lame, whatever. And so we start like rallying, and he's kind of got these weird strokes a little bit. But, little did I know. So then we start playing, and I think he just out of just pure humor just let me win the first couple points. And then the dude just proceeded to just roll me like
Oh my
literally
God.
30 points in a row.
Like you were a beginner.
Oh, like I was
Wow.
like I'd never picked up a paddle before.
Whoa.
And I was looking at the guy, and he was kind of like, like a 50-year-old, kind of overweight, like
Sure.
just regular looking dude. And he still had his headset on, because the truck drivers, they have
Yeah.
the headset.
Yeah.
And he just left it on, and he's got his little badge here, and the dude is just absolutely rolling me, like just blew me off the table.
Does he still deliver to you ever?
I don't know if he's been back in a little while, but yeah, he just absolutely obliterated me. And I was like, what's the deal, man? And he was like, well, there's a league. Apparently there's a league over in like Golden Valley or St. Louis Park. And he's like, yeah, I go every Tuesday. And,
Okay.
I'm probably like, one of the 5 best players in the state, because he plays at like the open state tournament.
That's really
Wow.
cool.
And I was like, what? And he was like, yeah, you should come on down. And
We should go on down.
Oh.
And what I think would be
it would be too hard for the ego.
well, no, what I like.
It's fun though.
What I think would be great is to get into doubles. If you've never played doubles in ping pong, table tennis, and by the way, I don't know what the heck the difference is between ping pong or table tennis. Is there?
Same thing.
It's the same thing. It's
Yeah.
just in different places called different things.
Yeah.
Okay, but doubles is a completely different game, because you have to alternate shots, and so your partner has to get out of your way in order to. And I think that is the most fun you can have on a ping pong table, is playing doubles. So we should just walk in someday like we own the
It'd be
place
fun.
and try to get that truck driver to one of our events. That,
Oh,
that
yeah.
would be cool. But no, absolutely going to plan another Pong event. Yeah, you guys, let's talk about SkyRide. What is Sky? I mean, I see the T-shirt. I see what you got going on there. Turn this way a little bit so everyone. This one over here. Yep, there you go. SkyRide.
So
You can see it online with Carnival Cruise Line.
yeah,
Hopefully, it's not amateur people learning how to fly their own small airplane all over the place. Okay, good.
Johnny, will you
Sweet.
describe
Yeah,
SkyRide, please?
So, what year did you start doing it?
Maybe 15 years ago.
He's always loved riding bicycles. He's did an invention called row bike,
Okay.
which is where it's like, rowing is such a great workout.
Sure.
So you got to pump like a bar, and that pulls the wheel,
Yeah.
pulls a chain, which, drives the back wheel.
Yeah, and some disabled people use those. Correct? Is that?
Oh, there could be. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've
seen-
Row bike.
And like
row bike.
recumbent bikes too. Like there's all different kinds.
Sure.
Anyway, he has this idea he wants to like have basically like a roller coaster that's self-powered.
Human powered.
Human powered. Yeah. So he comes up with this idea, and at his farm, he builds a track that's like, what is it? A quarter? No, it's not a quarter.
No, it's 600 feet.
He builds a
Like a
600
hockey rink, size of a hockey rink.
Okay.
Yeah, the sides of the boards of a hockey rink, and it looks like kind of like a roller coaster thing. So it's got like it's like a C channel up at the top, and then there's a piece that goes up in between that, and then there's like wheels, like rollerblade wheels
Sure.
to hold it. And then there's the original iteration had just a bike wheel that was pushed up against the track, and then it had a mechanism where when you would pedal it, the chain would drive that wheel and push you along the track on that wheel.
Sure. Kind of. I'm picturing these upside down roller coasters that hang from the track
Yeah.
instead of. That's
But
what
it's
I'm picturing.
self-powered.
Sure. Sure.
Yep. And so the idea was he wanted to create this thing where it's kind of like a ride, but you're also getting a workout while you're doing it. And the idea was like you could put it like at a Lifetime Fitness. You know how they have like the walking track and the running track?
Yeah.
You could put it up in the ceiling, and it would be using space that's not currently utilized.
Sure.
And you could use that, and people could, it would be like, I'm going to go for a SkyRide. And you could have like 4 lanes, and you could like race your buddies.
And they could go outside. It could go.
It could go outside.
Yeah, it could go in, out, wherever the
Yeah,
track can.
at a Baker Park or like
Sure.
a Three Rivers Park in Minneapolis.
Yeah.
Theodore Wirth. You could build a track around the whole thing, and it's like, I'm going to go ride the SkyRide, you know? So that was the idea. It's like a ride that's self-propelled where you can get a workout but also experience it.
What are some of the downsides? What are some of the things, obstacles?
Expensive.
Right. Maybe
It's
people
expensive.
are worried about the sightliness of it, or seeing the track.
Yeah, there's always a downside. There's always a negative side to anything that's never been done before,
Sure.
so to speak. But
That's head trash, right? You just
yeah,
dismiss that.
head trash. That's a good term for that.
Yeah, I got a really good friend that taught me that. Anytime something is holding you back because you have these negative thoughts about doing it, and someone's already done this before, no one's gonna like this, it's too expensive, it's dumb, no one's gonna buy this, I'm gonna fail. Guess what? That's just your head trash.
Yeah.
So you lose right away when you listen to that voice. Anyway, go ahead.
That's kind of a typical person. I don't know what the makeup of that person, but I've met many of those people in my day.
Sure.
They said that about rollerblades. They said that about my row bike, which was maybe my favorite invention, I think, of all time.
They said that about this studio, and and look what we're doing right now. Crazy, right?
Beautiful studio, by
I
the way.
appreciate
I'm
it.
impressed,
I appreciate
man.
it.
And
It's all really cheap stuff.
I wouldn't say that.
IKEA.
Except for the whiskey.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a couple decent ones up there. No, but so where are you going with the SkyRide thing? I mean, has it caught on? Has any places adopted it?
I created it for a couple reasons. I wanted to take fitness to a new heights, to new speeds. You know, how long can you stay on a spinning bike? In a workout, well, they stay on a spinning bike for a while because they're getting motivated by a trainer, so that I felt if you could get speeds that you normally don't get while you're working out, you might be more engaged and want to stay on that piece of equipment. So that was kind of the idea, is to really create fitness to make it really exciting, kind of like blades and my row bike. Let's get out and be moving. So that's kind of been my motivation, and on top of that, as I was creating the row bike, I ended up becoming friends with a lot of guys that were paraplegics that saw my row bike and thought, wow, I could do that, because most people think rowing is just upper body, and it can be, but the true rowing motion is full body.
Oh, right. You're using your legs.
You
to
could be
push
using
off.
your legs as much as your upper body.
Absolutely.
But you can isolate it. So, but anyhow, so that really motivated me to see these guys getting out using the row bike. So I wanted to get something. So the SkyRide came into my vision. And now I'm thinking, well, now people with all kinds of disabilities could be using this. If you don't have any balance, it could be up there pedaling. If they couldn't use their legs, they could be rowing. So I just built it not knowing where it was going to go. I built it knowing that it has a place. So I engineered one finally after a couple of prototypes that would hold a 1,000-pound SkyRide and travel at 50 miles an hour was the way I engineered this track, which is the one that you could try. Bring your friends out and the family out, and you can experience it and see for yourself what you think of it.
And where's this?
That's out in
at your
Waconia.
farm? Yeah.
Yep. And John, but if you don't want to travel that far, Jomber here says he's going to build one in his new shop.
Oh, nice. No, Waconia is not that far from me. I live out west here, and so Waconia is perfect. I'd love to check that out.
Oh yeah, and then we got Pong we could play.
Can
And,
we can do like the alternative sports Olympics out there, right? There's,
Oh yeah, there's plenty of activities out there, and there's a lot of bird watching going on. We got some amazing birds out there. But so anyhow, SkyRide got traction, got on Carnival Cruise Lines.
Yeah, there it is right
oh
there.
wow! Oh my gosh!
Yeah, so it's on Carnival Cruise. There's a commercial where Shaq is in the commercial, and he's like hyping up the cruise, and he's like, Carnival Cruise, SkyRide, and it's so Shaq is all.
He's such a good sport too.
Oh,
When you
yeah.
see him on all kinds of different things.
Yeah, there it is. But that's the idea,
So you invented that. That is so dang cool. So, What happens when someone wants to pass someone else? Like, hey, hurry, you're too slow. Let's
Well,
go.
We haven't. I don't know if you figured that out yet, but there could be like a train where you switch lanes.
Yeah, there's a change.
passing area.
I created a
bypasser.
change lane.
Okay, change lane. Yeah.
I've hopped freight trains for a lot of years, so I figured that out riding the trains. But anyhow,
Well, the laydown one. How do they propel the laydown one?
well, that one I designed for the ski resorts. You know how mountain coasters are popular for ski resorts?
Yeah.
Well, that one, you get to lay down like Superwoman, or is it Superman? What's that popular character?
Both.
Super they.
Yeah, Super. There you go, Charlie.
Yeah, exactly. Got a very
Yeah.
inclusive
Super
here.
person.
Yes.
So there's so many different applications, but so what I'm trying to do is we're actually working with Santa Monica Pier. It's my latest deal. It's Carnival. It was so popular on Carnival Cruise Lines that they put it on 2 other ships, and they headhunted my main guy and took him away from me. So I said, "You guys can keep it. You can have the guy. Justin was his name, great guy." And I'll just go somewhere else now and create it. So maybe Santa Monica Pier, we're doing a deal, maybe in Durango, Colorado. So there's a lot of different applications for it. I'm trying to find somebody like John or Johnny here or yourself that wants to come on, and I basically would kind of give it to them and let them run with it. So I want to get my hands out of it because I want to create the next idea.
I'd like it for bow hunting.
He's a dreamer. He's an inventor. He's
Yeah.
a big picture idea guy. He's less of like an execution guy, more of a idea guy.
Oh
So
yeah, no, I totally can relate
Yeah.
to that. Yeah, not
yeah.
not an implementer, but more the visionary.
Bow hunting, there's all kinds of applications. You know, it's expensive to put up a track, but there's a place for it for a lot of people.
I could see it being really good at amusement parks. I could see it being good at
Zoos.
like the Mall of America type big, where you
Oh,
have
yeah.
these big interior spaces that they try to recreate outdoor spaces, zoos, all kinds of stuff, right?
like Theodore Wirth, like
Yeah.
you know, you have like the walking or biking path. I mean, you could have it next to it.
You know what you could do too is you could, you know, like everyone wants an e-bike now instead of just you could make it both. Pedal when you want, E when you want.
Oh yeah.
Oli,
yeah, it takes away
you're not a big fan of the e-bikes, are you?
You know, I don't blame you either. I could understand probably why.
No,
right?
no, I'm into. I got an e-bike. I use instead of a side by side at the farm. You know,
Yep.
I got an e-bike and a normal bike.
Well, yeah, you can't scare those whitetails. You got to go out on the e-bike. Are you a bow hunter?
Used to be, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
'cause-
no, I used to be a bow hunter.
Get me
I
started.
used to make bows.
That's awesome.
I
Yeah,
grew up
of course
making
you
bows,
did.
and I made money making bows.
You probably made like an automatic repeat firing bow. You know what I mean? I could see that being the case.
They so anyhow, if you find me a guy that wants to take over road bike or SkyRide, I'll give you a finder's fee for it.
So Carnival and you guys aren't working together anymore? So
Well,
you had
a
another,
little bit.
Okay.
They're buying parts and stuff, but I'm looking for the next venue for that application. I want to create the next application. So, but anyhow, it's been a fun ride with it. I've had a lot of ups and downs getting it on the market, like any product. You know that people have. People typically don't hear about the downs that you have, but that's an entrepreneur. Guys like us, we persevere. You know, it's all temporary. The downs that you got to just look beyond that and plug away, and that's what I'm all about. And I think what's in front of me right now, I don't know in terms of products, ideas, but you'll be able to see a few of them I'm working on when you come out. And you may not like SkyRide, but there might be another product I'm developing. In fact, the one that I'm really into now, the Punisher, is the one that Johnny came out and used, and he actually had it at the shop here. And he was like, Maria, do you want to get into this? You should really get into this, Maria. This is Johnny's wife, who's really into fitness, right? And thinking that she could pioneer it, you know. And so I'm looking for a really good fitness person that wants to pioneer the Punisher, because I created something that I would have liked to have bought it. And I've had, like my friend at Lifetime, who started Lifetime, is like, where can I just buy this piece of equipment? You know, I don't want to invent it. Yeah, great idea. Let me check. And then my buddy that owns the New York Health and Racket Club in New York, same thing with him. Find me this thing. I want to just buy it. I had to invent it, right? And it's like so simple. So anyhow, you'll be able to see that one when you come out.
Well, you are a unique individual. I can't thank you guys enough. Thank you, John, for bringing him on. I mean,
Pleasure.
What I love about this is that people can see that, you know, sometimes when you just think out of the box and you dream and you capture something, you're like, hey, you know what? This could really change people's lives, right? Sometimes you just got to go for it. You can't hold back or let that head trash just take up that space. And it seems like you're also the type of guy that you're just fighting time, fighting that age. You're staying young, right? I don't want to ask how old you are, but I can just tell, like, you stay very fit. You have a ton of energy. You have a positive spirit. You're one of those energies that attracts other people to you, right? Instead of those drains that, you know, there's just so many people out there that drain your energy, right? And I don't want anything to do with them. So this has been really cool.
Wow.
Thanks, Charles.
Can we settle the score though on this table one more time before
Let's do it.
One more time before we go?
Well, before we cut though,
Okay.
and I don't want to end it
Oh, it's okay.
right now. I
End it whenever
got
you
to say one thing. I want to thank Johnny for bringing me here for your show. And you know, I grew up with this kid, this guy now, this man, wonderful man that he is. And but Johnny needs to plug his music because he's got some music out there. He's a music man. Not only is he a successful entrepreneur and a father I look up to, and a husband, but he's also this great musician.
John, are you in a band?
I got to take a leak, but let me plug it when I get back.
And
right back.
so he creates music like his uncle, and so he needs to plug his music that he performs because it's on Spotify.
I'd love to hear, but I didn't know. I mean, it's just like he's a humble individual. He doesn't just walk around saying all the things that he does or this or that. Hey, sweetheart, how are you doing on those? You've been having issues with those or what?
That one.
Keep shutting off. Is that what it is? But we have one continuous going the whole time, right?
Yeah.
All right, we're good.
Well, how lucky are you to have your kid here with you, working with you? You know, how many
Yeah,
kids you got?
Most of the time, you feel lucky about that.
Yeah.
I have 3 daughters.
3.
Yes, and this is the middle one. So this is the
Nice.
one we like to forget about the most. And
Yeah, good for you, man.
supposed to be a joke.
I always fantasized about my kid, my daughter. I only had one daughter, and I was like raising her. I was like, God, I wish you were like a triplet, you know, because I wanted more of her,
yeah,
of them.
that's great. Yep.
And I only got one.
Yeah, be careful what you ask for. So
True.
3 was a handful, but to be honest with you, yeah, I feel like the luckiest guy on earth because now I get 3 wonderful human beings that they're all very different. They're all very
Cool.
unique, right? But they all get along. They have a great relationship, and we get to spend good time together. And although it wasn't always the case with them growing up because life is busy and not everyone's always getting along, but now that we're all, you know, they're into their early adult years and we have things in common, we get to go golfing and do things together that you would do with really close friends. And so, yeah, I feel very, very lucky to be able to work with Selena, and she loves what she does, and we have a good thing going here. So don't screw it up, all right? I'm just saying. Just kidding. John, you're in a band, dude?
So I learned to play guitar when I was like 8 years old. My mom got me lessons, and I just kind of was always into it. Played just throughout my youth, throughout high school. Went to college, left my guitar at home, and then ended up bringing it when I moved off campus and had more room my senior and junior year. And then basically just poked away at it throughout my young adult life. And then once COVID hit, you know, everyone was kind of landlocked and stuck at home. And so I started getting into playing a little bit more. And I've always really been into music. And I know a guy, John Herkert, stage name Dark Pony, who's like been a family friend of mine for forever. I met him through my uncle, who's also a musician. And so we just kind of connected one day, and he said, yeah, come on over to my studio and we'll see what happens. See if anything interesting happens. So I went over there and we hit it off right away. He's a beautiful man. I love his energy. A lot like Oli in that he's very much a free spirit, really creative guy. One of the most talented musicians that I've really ever been around. He's just amazingly talented, and he makes me sound really good. And so we started just kind of messing around a little bit together, and then I ended up making a record with him. It just kind of happened. So
What's the band name?
So, my nickname in my family is Jomber, Jomber.
Okay.
And so that's I was just like, yeah, that's gonna be it.
Jomber.
I didn't want to do my name. That's kind of lame, So
Yeah,
I was like, let's be a little different here.
Okay. And type of music. So it's Jomber.
Yeah, it's Jomber, Jomber.
Okay.
And I've got 2 albums on Spotify
Okay.
that are streamable.
Yeah, we'll definitely plug it on the show.
And
here.
I'm also working on a new project with Herkert and my cousin,
Okay.
Steele. And we're working on it's just a new band, and we're having fun with it right now. But it's a really, really fun thing to do and get into. And maybe we should even have those guys on here. It might be kind of fun. They're both really interesting
I'd
people.
love to have them on. I'd love to feature some of the music. I am a very amateur guitar player. I
Nice.
played when I was a kid, and so I very rarely pick it up still, strum a few tunes. I know like half songs. I know like a few half songs. But because of that, I appreciate music so much more because you understand just how hard it is to get good at it.
Yeah.
Right? So,
yeah.
It has allowed me to appreciate so many different types of music too.
Yeah.
If someone were to look at my playlist, they wouldn't know. You wouldn't be able to tell what I listen to. You'd be like, "Dang, man, you're all over the place, right?" So, what type of music is John?
Yeah, it's I don't know. Oli, is it like it's kind of maybe a little yacht rock, a little, Herkert he knows like the technical part of music really well.
Sure.
I just am like a, real kind of 3 chords and the truth kind of guy.
Yeah, yeah.
But he really understands the theory and all that stuff.
Sure.
So, and I just kind of am like, yeah, do whatever you want.
So, but if you were to
It's like
say
yacht rock. It's like kind of like,
say a band or say a song that it sounds like.
the newer stuff is a little more country sounding, like kind of modern country. The older stuff is maybe more like Weezer or what do you think, Oli? What does it sound like?
Alternative
Beatles,
rock.
kind of
Okay,
Beatles
okay.
with but see, I grew up listening to like Green Day and Blink-182
Sure.
and Weezer, and so it
Yeah.
kind of there's that. But also I grew up listening to like 60s and 70s rock. I love oldies. I love like 50s doo-wop music.
Okay.
So like Buddy Holly.
Yeah.
I love that stuff. So there's an element of that to it, but John Herkert has done a great job of kind of making it be its own thing. But what would you?
What song is the bit? Which song has the most hits on Spotify?
Yeah, the one that's got the most plays, I think, is "Here's a Guy."
Okay.
And so that song, I wrote the song about Oli.
Okay. That's awesome.
And so the chorus is like, "Here's a guy, here's a guy." And so the idea is we have this guys trip that we do every year. And then one of the things we just started saying, and there's all these little bits and inside jokes, is I was like, "Oh, here's a guy." Like if your buddy walks into the room.
Oh, here's a
it's like,
guy.
"Oh, here's a guy.
Yeah, who let this guy in?"
Here's a guy.
Yeah.
Oh, this is a guy. And so it was "Here's a guy," and then it was like Oli is on the trip. So I wrote it about Oli and mostly Oli and my uncle Jeff, who's a musician.
Selfishly, I can't help but think I'd love to be able to get some of the music to be able to play on this podcast because
Play whatever you want.
Well, that's what I'm saying. We can't just take any music and just
You
play
can
it.
take any of my songs you want.
All right, great. We'll have to get that in
We're on the
writing.
record right now.
You hear that,
Yeah.
Selena? So we can get some open royalty music, right? That we can use. That
You don't need to pay me a royalty. Just go ahead and use it.
we'll feature it on here. No, it'd be great to get some of that. I didn't know, and that just shows that you're a real humble dude. You're not like, guess what this about me and guess what that about me, right? But I had no clue that you were talented like that. I think that it's already fascinating that you are engineering mindset and able to, with APCON, with your business, be able to put out the products that you guys put out and work with the big companies that you guys work. That is extremely unique. It isn't necessarily like the most entertaining stuff for the modern audience to really dive into, but as a business owner, right? And as a guy that just, hell, the only skill I've ever had is just being able to talk to people and relate and get to know people. And okay, so that helps me out in sales and whatnot. But you guys come from a fabric of very, very useful skills that change our society, that help and change. And I sales is needed, but I don't think that it's like solving any of the world's problems. It just keeps things moving.
Yeah,
right?
it keeps things moving.
Which is great, right? So, okay, fine. But just tons of credit to guys that can think the way that you guys think and do the way that you guys do it.
I think a good way of thinking about it is we do a lot of work in the food industry. So I'm making the world fat, and Ole is trying to make them thin.
Good one, John.
Right?
And I'm trying to make them talk to me.
Yeah, and you're exactly.
No, that's awesome. That's great. Guys, what do you
Thanks, man.
think?
Thank you.
Should we wrap her up?
Yeah, great.
All right.
Ole's got a email that he's working on there.
Yeah.
I'm a little behind on corresponding to my guys out at the farm looking for something to do. So, and I got a lot to do out there, so I just gave them a message to get working on some stuff.
All right.
Good
Well,
stuff.
thank you. Let's shake hands, and then we'll call it a wrap.
Thank you, buddy. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, appreciate it, buddy. Thank you.
Okay, you gentlemen pretty much killed it.